Post Sports Pulse, Trysta Krick challenged Hall of Famer David Robinson to a game of Pop-A-Shot and the results are surprising. USA Today Sports. You have to feel for the Scouts at the top of the Western Conference. With 9 days to go in the NBA regular season, there are 7 Western Conference teams separated by 4 losses vying for 5 playoff spots. Playoff prep work doesn't get much tougher than this. It's a rare sort of NBA chaos, with only Houston, 62-15, and Golden State, 56-21, having locked up seeds in 3rd place, Portland, 48-29, safe, barring late collapse. The Trail Blazers have a 3-game lead on 4th place San Antonio with 5 games to go, and a Saturday road game at the Spurs looms large because it will establish the tiebreaker. Then again, maybe the Kawhi Leonard-less Spurs falter and find themselves out of the playoff picture for the first time since 1997. Confused yet? We're just getting started. Here's a detailed look at this Wild West landscape. San Antonio, 45-32, 4th games remaining, at Clippers on Tuesday, at Lakers on Wednesday, versus Portland on Saturday, versus Sacramento on April 9th, at New Orleans on April 11th. Look, it remains unclear if Leonard, quadriceps tendinopathy, will play again this season, but the Spurs have won 8 of their last 10 games. They last missed the postseason in 1996-97 when David Robinson, back and foot injuries, played just 6 games. But San Antonio's 20-62 record helped it land Tim Duncan in that year's draft. Tiebreakers. The Spurs have it against Oklahoma City, Minnesota and the Clippers, but don't have it against Utah. The tiebreakers against New Orleans and Denver are undetermined. Oklahoma City, 45-33, 5th games remaining, versus Golden State on Tuesday, at Houston on Saturday, and Miami on April 9th, versus Memphis on April 11th. Look, the bad news for Russell Westbrook's Thunder. With Paul George's free agency this summer hanging over their heads, they picked a terrible time to lose 4 of their last 6 games. The good news? They got that much closer to a possible first-round matchup with the ailing Warriors, who aren't expected to have 2-time MVP Steph Curry until the 2nd round because of his MCL injury and would rely heavily on Kevin Durant in his absence. It's safe to assume that Westbrook would love nothing more than kicking the defending champs and his former co-star while they're down. Kevin Durant, left, stands next to Russell Westbrook during the first half of their game. Photo, Marcio Jose Sanchez. AP tiebreakers. The Thunder have the tiebreaker against Utah and the Clippers, but don't have it against Minnesota, New Orleans, and Denver. The tiebreaker against San Antonio is undetermined. Utah, 44-33, 6 games remaining, versus Lakers on Tuesday, versus Clippers on Thursday, at Lakers on Sunday, versus Golden State on April 10th, at Portland on April 11th. Look, first-round foes don't get much more dangerous than these Jazz, who have the league's 2nd best record since January 24th, 25-5, behind Houston's 29-3, and the top net rating, 11.6. Ahead of the Rockets' 10.6, per NBA.com/stats. Tiebreakers. The Jazz have it against San Antonio, New Orleans and the Clippers, but don't have it against Oklahoma City and Minnesota. The tiebreaker against Denver is undetermined. Minnesota, 44-34, 7 games remaining, at Denver on Thursday, at Lakers on Friday, versus Memphis on April 9th, versus Denver on April 11th. Look, the Timberwolves are trying to end the league's longest playoff drought, as they haven't been in the postseason since 2004. If only they could get 4-time All-Star Jimmy Butler back. The Wolves star has been out since tearing his meniscus on February 23rd, but, according to a person with knowledge of the situation, planned to take part in 5-on-5 action for the first time on Monday. It remains unclear when Butler will be back, but Minnesota, which has gone 8-8 in his absence, needs him in a major way. The person spoke to USA Today Sports on condition of anonymity because Butler's practice session wasn't publicized. Tiebreakers. The Timberwolves have it against Oklahoma City, Utah, New Orleans and the Clippers, but don't have it against San Antonio. The tiebreaker against Denver is undetermined. New Orleans, 43-34, 8 games remaining, versus Memphis on Wednesday, at Phoenix on Friday, at Golden State on Saturday, at Clippers, April 9, versus San Antonio on April 11. Outlook. From a 4-game winning streak to the current 4-game losing streak, the Pelicans, who are 17-13 since losing to DeMarcus Cousins for the season to an Achilles tendon tear on January 26, are playing with fire again. And considering the omnipresent question of Anthony Davis's happiness level and the reality that New Orleans has been in the playoffs just once in his 5 seasons, it would behoove them to finish this job. Tiebreakers: the Pelicans have the tiebreaker against Oklahoma City, but don't have it against Utah, Minnesota, and Denver. The tiebreakers against San Antonio and the Clippers are not determined. Denver, 42-35, 9 games remaining, versus Indiana on Tuesday, versus Minnesota on Thursday, at Clippers on Saturday, versus Portland on April 9, at Minnesota on April 11. Outlook. The Nuggets, fresh off overtime wins against Oklahoma City and Milwaukee, refuse to give up on this playoff mission after missing the cut last season by just 1 game. Still, their spirit and synergy at this late juncture should bode well for the future of third-year coach Mike Malone. Jamal Murray may have just saved the Nuggets season with this athletic steal and drawn foul. He went to the line 3 times and hit all of them, to tie this game with 2 seconds left. He is 21. #nuggetspick.twitter.com/NZK92, Justin Jett, at JustinJett_April 2nd, 2018. Tiebreakers: the Nuggets have the tiebreaker against Oklahoma City and New Orleans, but don't have it against the Clippers. The tiebreakers against San Antonio, Utah, and Minnesota have not been determined. Clippers, 41-36, 10 games remaining, versus San Antonio on Tuesday, and Utah on Thursday, versus Denver on Saturday, versus New Orleans on April 9, versus Lakers on April 11. Outlook. The post-Blake Griffin Clippers have lost 7 of their last 11 games, and look like the favorite to fall out of contention here. Tiebreakers: the Clippers have the tiebreaker against Denver, but don't have it against Oklahoma City, Utah, San Antonio, and Minnesota. The tiebreaker against New Orleans has not been determined. Follow USA Today Sports' Sam Amick on Twitter at Sam